All right, here we are, Leanne Babcock and Dawn Overstreet in Where Kindred Spirits Gather. I'm so excited to have you here today, Leanne. I had a very specific reason for wanting to interview you, and that reason is there are so many people in this group that have no idea that they have a unique background or how much they've really learned from that background that they have, come to in their today's present moment. And I'm always inspired by your story, where you've come from, the things that you've done, and where you are right now because of all of those experiences that you've had. So I want to, first of all, welcome you because I love you to death, my friend and colleague from way back. And I'm just going to turn it over to you and let you tell people in the group about your quest this lifetime.
Thank you, Dawn. And I'm really excited to be here as well and to connect with you um, and also to speak with your people, so exciting. And so you said, you wanted to speak with me about, my journey and you gave me this title, you said, Reclaiming My Power. And and so actually that caught my attention because I want to talk about the word power as it relates to everybody, because I think this is actually where we are caught right now with everything that's going on in the planet right now. And so, power, the word power was, if we just take a moment and look conventionally, like a little bit in the past, it's being regarded as like not a good thing. I even remember like many years ago when I was doing corporate training, the my clients asked me not to use that word. I mean, can you imagine? Because power was it was regarded as dominating over other people. And I want to speak to that because it's been taken into what I'm calling the old narrative and twisted. And so, like, the meaning of power has been made not good, and other words in there have been usurped, like words like strength and force. And so, power was about getting your own way. So nobody wanted that. I mean, who wants to be powerful? Really? you know? And so what's happened is that we've been taught to be afraid of power, and that's how control over other people happens. We're then afraid of our own unique gifts. We're afraid of the great spirit and the divine consciousness that we are, that channels through us. But we've been taught that, and it isn't natural. So I want to say that so it's really heard, and so that we can be very clear. The word and a whole concept about it from the past, it's been villainized. And even in when I was thinking that, what came to mind was that quote of Marianne Williamson, and I'm just going to summarize it, which it said something like, "It is not our darkness we're most afraid of; it's our light, and our light is our power. Our light is our power." And here's what's happening right now. And that's why I wanted to talk about our power, because it's right in there that lies all of our unique gifts and what we have to offer the world, and our expression is because it's right here that we're grappling. It's because we're still carrying some old uh, I guess, maybe beliefs or uh, being afraid of our own power. Nobody wants to be powerful and have power over other people, and so it's like we're not knowing how to even be with our own power. And but what's happening is, as we evolve, as we do our work, like you, I, all of your listeners here, as we have done our spiritual work to evolve, to become more conscious, to open up to spirit and who we really are, what's happening is our power is naturally arising because they're this. And as our real power arises naturally, then it's like there's a kind of, what do you call that when you've got like an inner conflict inside, one thing against the other? Is that a dichotomy? Something
Yes.
like that? Yeah. Okay, good. We've got a dichotomy inside, which is there's this natural power that's arising, this natural consciousness. And then there can be this old narrative of, well, who do you think you are? You don't really know that. Just look at somebody else. They know how to do that much better than you do. And what makes you think that anyone wants to hear what you have to say? And all of, I mean, I get caught in these. And I know that everybody does because I think, I mean, like I said, this is what we're grappling with right now as we almost like as we restore ourselves to wholeness. Uh, what will arise is anything that's not whole within us, anything that's not love. And so old beliefs and old thoughts and old narratives that may even be unconscious will arise saying, do this. And then we start to doubt. And then you would go, oh, maybe that's true. And I mean, I go through stuff like, because I've been doing this for so long, it's like, oh, yeah, well, you've had it. You're done. You're old. You're too old. Right. And then I start going down that path of, oh, maybe that's right. And it's like in that, what happens when we do that? We begin to forget. And we begin to sink into the the old dream or the old, it's more like a nightmare, really. Nightmare, and feel awful. But then something happens because we've done our work. We then hit a moment where we go, hey, wait a minute. And then we start to debrief and we start to, well, actually, those thoughts aren't really true. And I'm not my thoughts. We start to just, a little, the light comes in because our light is stronger, our light is bigger. And as we go, oh, yeah, that's not who I am. And then gradually we begin to rise again into the light that we are. And we have this remembering until the next moment comes when we take something happens, someone says something, we get hurt, and we take another little tumble, and then we debrief and we have insights and we rise again. I'm calling this a phoenix period where the our consciousness is evolving and transforming. So is planet Earth. And what is breaking away is the old narrative, which was very destructive. It was all about control. That's what it was, controlling others and over people, and we just can't be controlled anymore. And so we're breaking away from that as we emerge into ourselves. But there will be that, and I'm not going to call it a battle because and I invite everybody not to do that, because then it becomes this, fighting with yourself. You don't need to fight with yourself. The old isn't you. The old is just breaking away. It's like just hearing old or observing old patterns talking at you. Oh, you don't know how to do that. And bit by bit, you can actually begin to hold your center while it's going nah, nah, natter, natter, natter. And you go, oh, look at that pattern. Look, I'm about to tell myself how terrible I am and how I'm just a fraud and I don't know. Oh, isn't that interesting? And then you bring your attention elsewhere, right? So I think it's a pattern, and it's a pattern, just like any other pattern, this too shall pass as we continue to evolve and the truth is rising, the truth of who we really are.
There is some homework there, though, right, Leanne?
Oh,
It's
oh, oh,
not like
indeed.
if you want to flip the coin, it sounds really easy, right? But flipping the coin takes a bit of exercise.
That's right.
because
That's
as
right.
deep as those concepts or habits or whatever people want to call them that keep them from feeling that power that they are,
Mm,
that's how sometimes, just a commitment to change,
mm.
to look at another side of oneself can make a, 5,000 year advance in a short amount of time.
Absolutely. And I think you hit it right there is as we become more conscious and and more conscious to that it is a pattern. And I mean, one of the best ways of doing that is connecting with a conscious community, which is how come your work is so important, Dawn, and the work that I do. It's like um, we're bringing together people so that they can continue that work of remembering because we keep falling asleep. And that's really how it goes. I mean, just yesterday, I went for lunch with a friend and I was telling her how just this last week I've been having trouble sleeping. And that's not a usual pattern for me. And she said, well, she says, why don't you just go with it? You wake up, get up and do something that you enjoy. And if you get tired, have a nap. And I thought, oh, yeah. And then I remembered I'd read something like about that years ago. I even did it years ago, and then I forgot. And so we need each other, not as gurus to tell us what to do and what we should think and what we should believe and how it goes, but as we need these communities and people who are, and we all have different roles, but people who their role is to hold that torch of light, like we do. And in that torch of light, people find their own inner guru, their own inner wisdom, their own unique channelings and gifts. And we need to be reminded just because you've had an enlightened moment or period or you've done so much work, it's like big deal. You've got work to do. There's practice now because now you got to practice and keep keep waking up because the all the distractions, everything, the media, the news stories, the conversations with people, you hang out with the wrong people or the wrong communities, boy, you'll get real sucked in. And so you have to and it's not even about living in a bubble and going, you know I'm listening to nothing. I see nothing. I hear nothing. It isn't that either. You got to be out there in the world. You got to be out there interacting and you got to discern. You have to discern the energy and what you really need. And so when you are with these conscious communities, then that help remind you that the torch bearers hold the light and you can keep seeing areas where you haven't paid attention, areas that you forgot, areas that are newly revealed because as you expand more fully into the wholeness of yourself, you're going to see things you hadn't seen before. And then there's more work.
I was reminded of something that you said when we were talking before we went live, and I was telling you that my computer speaker went, and so I had to use my earphones today in order to do the conversation with you. And I remember you saying, what was it? It was something
You
like,
are unstoppable, and we have to
and
be right now.
everybody wants to be unstoppable, in my opinion, to find those solutions in the immediate
Mm.
so that they can stop all the rhetoric, that goes on around them in their environment. And that's one of the things I've always really appreciated about you is that you are so solution oriented. You're always faced forward and you're always marching to the beat of your drum And that's just always been the image that I've had of you throughout my life.
Thank you. And, you know, I want to speak into that because we can sometimes, and I'm not saying that that's what you are saying, but sometimes we can think that someone is always like that. And I want to speak to that because what we do, and I know I get caught in that too. I look at somebody who, wow, they're just so amazing. And I think, and I want to say, um, like I tumble and I fall a lot. And I too sink into those deep, dark moments and have moments of forgetting who I am. But I am so grateful for people like you and for my practices because it's then as I claw myself out of a hole I've fallen into and I arise into one of my meditation practices, and then I'm like, oh, that's right. And I come back to center and I remember who I am.
You know what's so beautiful about that, Leanne? Is that the more that we do that for ourselves, the more we crawl out, the more that we rise up, that's who we become. You know, it's like for me, I can only speak from my experiences of overcoming, certain obstacles that I put in my way, either due to ignorance or my upbringing, that kind of thing. When I went beyond things, I felt like a different person. And, creating new habits that are more in keeping with myself just make it so much more worthwhile living and realizing, oh my gosh, the next challenge that comes, there's going to be a solution.
Yeah. Yes. And um, I'm also reminded too that part of this journey doesn't always feel very good. And sometimes the very thing to do is sit and be in it. My mom recently died, as you know, and George, my partner, recently had a scare and had to go in for heart surgery unexpectedly. And, uh, there were many feelings that came up and rose. And in those moments, and I say this because, sometimes this is the solution, is to do nothing and feel. And it's uncomfortable. To be with the discomfort, the fear, that I felt around George, and being in the hands of the surgeons, and uh, you know, and I had to just feel it, and because what was really there was my own fear of survival, my own fear of losing my mate, abandonment, all of that. And it really is all of my own wounding. It's not the first time I have felt those kinds of feelings. And sometimes we just need to feel them. It's in the feeling of them that they resolve. It's not about replaying them in our mind. And I think that needs to be distinguished. Like, this is a piece of work, by the way. It's a chunk of work that I'm sharing here because as we go through so much, oh, I'm just going to call it stuff in the world, threatened by climate change, political theater, um, war, and so much division and chaos that, it's easy to get um, pulled into so many different feelings. And it could be easy to sit in a feeling of righteousness, and then your head goes full of opinions and judgments and righteousness. I'm not talking about that because that is destructive and that is self abuse, by the way, because every thought we have instigates chemicals being released in the body, which feed your body, and they also make they also make what you feel. And so those kinds of thoughts are feeding the health of your body. And not only that, feeding into the energy on the planet. So what I'm saying though is all the things that are happening around us will be triggering wounds that are not healed yet inside ourselves. And what's so important is to pause and feel them, to not right away push them away. Oh yeah, I'll do a spiritual technique and I'll have all those bad feelings. It's like, no, feel it because it needs to resolve in your body and it's uncomfortable. It's horrible feeling all of the ripping apart inside of people. And it was just the other morning I was having my coffee and I felt this deep sadness come and I didn't even know why. And we don't need to know why. So don't go searching for a why. And so I put my coffee down and I let the sadness come and I sat there and I sobbed. I don't know for how long, but I sobbed until it resolved in my body. I had no thoughts going on. And then I picked up my coffee and I resumed my morning. That's what I'm talking about is being able to sit with the discomfort of what's flowing through you because everything is energy. We are energy beings. That's why it is natural for us to be intuitive. Intuition isn't a thing you just call in, it is an actual part of who you are and your expansion as a whole being. But you need to be able to, as that energy flows, discern the people you're hanging out with, interrupt those conversations that don't make you feel good, and be able to sit in the discomfort of the feelings without thought and let them resolve in your body until they're gone because your body doesn't want to hold on to that chemistry anyway. Your body wants to be healthy. So does your soul.
Exactly. I love that. I love what you just said. It's a good reminder, for people out there of how incredibly sensitive they are and how they need that sort of spiritual insurance of learning how to work with that power that they are so that they can deal with the things that go on around us and be more familiar with the things that feel like us
Yes.
so that we can just live life as it comes.
Yes. And be more in tune with it. Picking up on the energy, discerning it, using your intuition, and allowing that life force, which is that power, to flow through your body and express who you are in the world, your unique song, your unique being. That's what we came for.
Yes. And I just have to say right now, I know that you do some really dynamic programs for exactly what you're talking about. So I'm certainly going to ask you to put in the comments how people can get a hold of you because I have seen your workshops being promoted. I know the value of your experiences and the packages that you've created for people, but the very things that we've been talking about for the last little while. So I want to make sure that people can hook up with you,
Thank you.
learn more about you and to be able to experience the offerings then service that you provide for people who are really sincere
Mhm.
about creating a holistic, wholesome life for themselves. And it all starts with ourselves. So, Leanne, don't forget to do that in the comments
Thank you.
so that people can get together with you and learn more about your workshops. In the
Thank you.
meantime, I have one last question for you as we
Mm.
get ready to wind down our little conversation here, which has been wonderful. I always love getting together with you. And that question is, what is the most important thing to you? in your life right now?
The answer is right there. And that it's coming back to center. Because when I come back to center, I'm present. I am in this moment and I am in love. I'm in love. I'm in love with life. I'm in love with myself. I'm in love with my partner. I'm in love with everything. And I can't imagine any other place to be. And so that's, all the practices, the meditations, when I come back to center, um, it's like a relief to come home to me.
Well, now you just stimulated another question, so I guess we're just going to extend this a little bit. And that is, for those people who are really wondering what it is that you're talking about, what would you suggest to them? You know
Okay.
your, you know your
Mhm.
center, but how can people find out more about that?
Okay. Well, that's part of the work that we do in, developing your intuition and in expanding your consciousness. And it is the it's like right in the core. And I'm pointing to my heart right here because it's not here, it's here. When I close my eyes and I come here, that's where I hear what can be called like that still quiet voice or that inner knowing. And it's like, and it's inside of each one of us. It is the stillness in the core of the storm. So if life and everything else that's happening and the body's got this pain and that pain and we're being called everywhere, right in the core, in the center of you is an infinite calm and stillness. And you can learn to go there. Just close your eyes. Actually, even in this moment, just take a moment, close your eyes. And everyone, as you breathe, just bring your awareness to the center of your being. And as you bring your awareness to the center of your being, just slow down your attention. In the core of your being, with your attention slowed down right there. As you keep practicing in going there, that's the center. That's where your deep inner wisdom is. This is the portal also to your intuition. Just opening your eyes. See, because as we learn to keep coming into the center, into the core of our being, then that's where you have your answers. That's where you have your own wisdom, and you have all the answers for you. Nobody can tell you what to do or what's right or wrong or what to believe.
I love that. Thank you, Leanne. I want to
Mhm.
thank you and everyone who's been watching and commenting. It is a delight to have you here today. I am so excited that Leanne was able to hook up with me because I know she's a very busy lady. And to have this little conversation, I hope that people are inspired by her message and her suggestions, and that they will definitely contact her for more about the workshops that she provides to others. So, Leanne, thank you so much, sister. Love
Thank
you
you. I love you
so
too,
much.
Dawn. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yes, and thank you everyone for watching as we are now going to end our live conversation. See you later, folks.
Bye.